Go.
Guru Nation, this is a very special. When Dr. Al Jazayrly is on, we listen and people listen. And first of all, thank you. Are you still on LinkedIn, Dr. Al?
Yeah, I'm still on LinkedIn.
Little known fact about Dr. Al, he's a co-founder of Latinos in Clinical Research and Save Our Sites Conference, which we were just talking right now about Oklahoma City. We're both looking forward to it. We also want you guys and gals to book your rooms at the Omni Hotel because that's where we're gonna be. I'm gonna be. That's where Dr. Al's gonna be.
I
Um,
already booked it.
thank you. Really? Oh,
Mhm.
amazing. You ever been to OKC, Oklahoma? I
No,
never have.
no.
Well, me either. Bring your cowboy boots and cowboy hat. We'll go square dancing.
Okay.
Uh, Dr. Al's a PI. I used to, I mean, we go way back, me and Dr. Al. He's been a site owner for a decade, maybe. A little less, or a decade.
Yeah, almost like a kid.
Wow, man, the time really flies. Then I monitored your site for a study or two studies. You still have Claire is still there, the
Yeah,
coordinator?
Claire's still here.
Oh my gosh, Claire. We gotta do a pod with her.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, so I know your site pretty well. Yeah, I think a lot of people, and you're also the Site Owner Academy co-founder and teacher. And we discussed PI oversight on your module. And well, who better than to teach than Dr. Al Jazayrli, who's been a PI. You've actually been a PI longer than you've been a site owner.
Yep. I've been a PI since 2000, 2001.
I guess we're gonna start with what are your thoughts on Make America Healthy Again? What do you think will happen with our industry with this new regime? Everyone's talking about it. And at this point, it's just opinions. I mean, I
I
have
don't
my
know.
opinions. Are you worried or
Oh, I think the politicians, they can say whatever they want. Most important, what's going to happen after that. Okay,
right,
they can promise you the moon and they will not do anything then.
right.
Okay, and we know that. Okay.
Yeah.
At least now the health system, whatever we have now, it's like giving some coverage for some patient that they will not be ever being covered otherwise. I hope that new regime will continue doing this for these poor patients because they need to be taken care of. Otherwise, it's gonna be, you
Hmm.
know,
And you
doing
are in an underserved area of town. You're in Los
in Los
Angeles.
Angeles. Yep.
I've been to your site. You have a very underserved clientele, a very diverse clientele, a lot of Hispanic, but also African Americans, Asians. I mean, you have all basically backgrounds, nationalities, income strata,
Multi the melting pot, as
melting
they
pot
say
right
here.
there in LA.
Uh,
And so you're an oncologist, for those that don't know. What are you seeing as far as oncology trials? Are you staying busy with those, or are you
yeah.
getting other kind of studies too?
Actually, I've been staying busy. I've been seeing good results. I have a couple of studies that at least like 30, 40% of my patient had very good response with a new medication
Oh,
for
the brand new one.
something. Yep. That's what we have the target therapy for and everything. And these studies mainly for these kind of
Is
things.
it
But
what are they doing now? CAR T or
no, no,
immunotherapy or
CAR-T, we can do it as an outpatient in
okay.
community office. Have to be in the universities.
I
Big
see.
because of the side effect. Till now, they cannot overcome the side effects. So
Okay.
it have to be in big hospital, and even in here in LA, I think only the UCs they do it, and City of Hope.
Yeah, USC, UCLA, City of
Yeah,
Hope. Okay. But you are able to stay busy as a private practice and private research site
yeah, yeah.
with oncology. Yeah, you get enough oncology studies to stay busy.
I have actually my site is multi specialty.
Hmm.
Okay, I have oncology, cardiology, pulmonary, rheumatology, pediatrics, and I have studies for
Oh,
all these
I didn't know
specialties.
you do pediatrics.
Yeah, I have a couple of
Ah,
study for pediatrics for osteoporosis and pediatric, and also for
wow.
iron deficiency anemia.
Is
Okay.
that at the other private practice? The
It's
one I
all over.
visited?
Yeah,
Oh,
it's
okay.
in Huntington office.
I've been there
Moderna.
too. Okay, so do you guys get that one off the ground? Like we're doing research there?
Yeah, well, it's been working and we've been actually
Wow.
everything other than oncology is run in the other office
I see. Because I have mostly my experience with your
in
oncology
Vermont
practice.
because most of the study we worked together was in oncology.
I see. But
Yeah.
I remember visiting, it's even on the YouTube, doing the
Yeah.
tour of the sites and
Didn't you
uh
remember when I took you there, like to tell me, give me advice about how to organize it, how to
yeah.
divide it, and everything?
Did you take our advice or
Of course, 100%.
okay, okay.
Yeah, you're the master in these things.
That's good. Hold on. Chris is calling. Chris, I'm in the middle of a podcast with Dr. Al. Do you have a question for him? He's saying hi.
Hi,
Okay, well, he can join us mid conversation. Let me send it to you and then he'll join us mid conversation. Okay.
you're gonna continue the podcast?
Yeah, we'll do the pod until we have a student coming on right now. But okay, before the student jumps on, what is the best advice you have for physician site owners? Because you've been able to do multi-specialties. So you, like you said, you don't just do oncology, you have all these other specialties with other investigators. What advice do you have for other doctors maybe thinking of the same thing? Like what mistakes, what would you do differently now that you know? And what would you stay the same?
If I started from zero again, okay, I will try to find dependable other specialty PIs because I get burned by a lot of PIs that they say, yes, we want to work, we want to do research with you and everything. But then when you bring the study and negotiate and spend time doing everything, you ask them for a patient, they're busy. They
I
do
see.
not respond, and that's really something. So I try to learn from my mistake, and when I want to, I have to have accountable PI responsible, and he wants really to be. It's not just he wants his name to be in the research.
Okay. And how do you find that? How do you know before that that's the case? Like, is there a predictor that you're able to say, hey, this person, I think they are going to be reliable, or is it just luck?
I usually look at his CV. If his CV, if he have prior experiences in research, that's mean he could be interested. Otherwise, he will not be interested.
Oh, you
Otherwise,
think?
if he's like a doctor that he works as a he doesn't do research, it will be very difficult to convince him to do research.
I see.
So for somebody who doesn't do research before and told you that I wanted to do research,
But it could still work.
80% it will not work.
Ooh,
Trust me,
wow.
80% will not. I work with you know about 10 PIs
Yeah,
and they signed up with me and did everything and I had like 10 PI they and these other 4 or 5 PIs that they had a previous research experience in different level. They are the one who's feeding me with patient and doing everything. Even
I
in
see.
oncology, I try to reach out for other oncologists to make them as a sub I in my oncology. The one who doesn't have research does not refer patient, does not get interested because they think it
I
is
see.
too much waste of time because he have to follow up the patient and do X, Y, Z, especially in oncology study and like this. Even like in my site, mainly the we do everything. The clinical coordinator does everything, and they are
Of
very
course. Of course.
reliable and very good.
Well, great advice. Stephen, thank you for joining us midway through. We're just talking about successful sites and what that entails. Dr. Al Jazayrly, who's one of our instructors and especially one for the week one module of the Site Owner Academy on PI oversight,
Yes.
uh, is here. So any questions, just let us know.
Okay.
Hi, Stephen.
Well, hi, both of you. Thank you very much for including me in the talk. I did the first overview of the module and started to sneak peek on the first week. And I was going to take the GCP tests today. Actually, I just wanted to go through the middle first.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I'm sorry for being late. I don't know why. I think there was an issue with the Google invite. I only received one for Thursday, the 5th of December. And
Ah, okay.
I think it was maybe a mistake from you, and I don't know, but I
Yeah, I'm
couldn't
not sure.
resolve it.
Not sure, but myself and Dr. Al, we usually teach week one, and then I believe Chris does week two with Judy. So
Yes.
you should be getting the invites now regularly over the next 4 weeks. But while we got you on, and we are recording this too, so
Awesome.
any questions related to anything doesn't necessarily have to be PI oversight. I mean, that's the week that we're teaching, but like anything, the layout, anything you've gone through as far as the materials are concerned.
No, not so far. I've worked in the industry for 2 years and a half, more in the go-to-market side for big pharmas and biotech companies.
Ah,
Um, so very different. I work with sites in Long Beach here in California, as
oh,
well as in Houston, which is a part of the same network. So very different perspective, I think, than what you are usually used to. But yeah, I'm opening a site with a few PIs that I've worked with in the past, and a CRC that's going to be my lead and eventually my clinical director. But yeah,
wow. What kind of indications are you gonna do?
in terms of therapeutic areas.
Yeah.
So I like to focus on vaccine because that's what I've done at this site. But
Mm.
we'll see with the
We were
how
just
it comes
talking
back.
about that on the podcast with Dr. Al.
I know, yeah, I've seen that, and I've seen your review today that you posted today, I think, or
Yeah.
yesterday.
I mean, I'm a eternal optimist, so I would hope, and what everything I've heard RFK suggest is he's not against vaccines, he's against the way they've been studied.
Yes,
And what he wants is more long-term safety
which kind of makes
vaccine
sense.
study. It makes sense, but everyone labels him anti-vax because we're so tribal now.
Yeah.
But I think if you actually listen to what he says, and I could be wrong too. I mean, he could also not know what he wants, which is maybe what a lot of people are afraid of. But I think he's smart enough to have looked at this. I mean, he dedicated his whole career to these kind of things, vaccines and environmental toxins. And you would hope they're going to make mandatory long-term safety vaccines in the future. Or maybe even going back to some of the vaccines we have on the market, like do long-term safety studies, which
Well, I
would be
think
good for everyone in the space.
it would. I think there is a dichotomy, although in the way he presents things, but um, I mean, I guess we'll see very soon enough. But
Yeah.
I'm
Or
not,
not, or we
or
won't,
not, or no,
like
or
maybe
not.
nothing changes also.
Maybe not. I'm not skeptical. I'm also more as you on the optimistic side, but yeah, I'm for sure it's going to be new challenges.
Always is. The only
Mm.
constant in
That's
his
the
life is
industry.
constant change.
That's the industry.
Well, Long Beach is good. So Dr. Al's in Dr. Al has a um multi-therapeutic well, he's an oncologist, so he has an oncology practice over there at Hollywood Presbyterian, outpatient clinics, and then he's got peds, pulmonary, rheumatology. What am I missing? Uh,
Oncology.
of course, yeah, oncology, but he's in Huntington Park,
Okay, I
so
see.
not too far from where you're planning. Are you planning in Long Beach to open it, or
No, the location, the exact location is in Linwood.
okay, all right.
Linwood.
Yes, right
Very
at
close to Huntington.
yeah, right at the St. Francis Medical Center campus.
Yeah.
So it's a big trauma hospital. So I work with pulmonology as well, and because of my
Uh,
PIs.
I
But
love psych. You won't have any shortage of patients in LA.
yeah,
What's what's psych?
fully my yeah, for sure. No, no, I agree. But yeah, so that's the plan. And right now I'm
What's
doing
her
all my.
name? Work in psych also.
Oh, okay, interesting. Well, maybe we could meet one of these days. I would love that.
Wouldn't be bad. Uh, Too bad I don't live there anymore, but eventually I'll be
You
back.
used to work in psych also.
I still do, but yeah, in SoCal is different.
Mhm.
Psych is competitive, and that's the thing we talk a lot about location. There are pros and cons to being in a more competitive market. I do think the cons outweigh the pros to some extent, but there are, like, I have a site in Yuma, Arizona. It's on the border of California, Arizona,
Mhm.
and Mexico. And it's about 150,000 people in the middle of the desert. The problem is we have an airport. It has flights to Phoenix or Dallas. The problem is really logistic of the monitors getting here. So a lot of our monitors either live in Phoenix or San Diego or LA and
Mhm.
drive because it's 4 hours at the most. Like from LA, it's 4 hour drive. Or if they come from like Texas, they'll fly. But a lot of times, well, not a lot. Some of the times we get from sponsors like, hey, we can't find a monitor to assign you yet, so we can't activate you yet. So we have to wait a little bit until the study's already active before we get to be activated.
Mhm.
But the pro is there's no competition here. So any study I basically can find, they never tell me, oh no, we have too many sites in your area.
Yeah.
So that's like pros and cons. There's also other cons of like finding vendors for certain assessments. Like there's only really one MRI place to that's
Mhm.
reliable. Um, I was telling Dr. Al we had a study that required a liposuction. There was none in Yuma, so we would have to go to Phoenix and do it. And so
Oh.
there's cases where it gets inconvenient. And
Mhm.
I guess there's pros and cons to everything, but
Well, I'm
being
sure
in
in
a
terms
big
of
market is also has its own challenges.
yeah, but I'm sure in terms of diversity, it must be pretty good for the sponsors, no?
Yeah, they like the Latino. It's even a military town, so you have
Oh.
African Americans and even some
Wow.
Asians. Yeah, I mean, no, there's no perfect location, right? You have your resources, and then you have to figure out what to do with it. And you guys
Exactly.
are in a big market, but there's plenty of very successful sites all over SoCal.
Plan to be one of them. Good.
Yeah, sounds like you got a good background.
Trying.
Are you on LinkedIn for people that are watching that want to connect with you?
I am, yes, Stephen Averns, connected with already all of you guys.
Should
So,
I post that underneath this video when I
oh, yeah, absolutely.
we don't normally make these podcasts, but because we were on here for like 30 minutes, we just started recording a podcast about the week one module, but we were getting into like PI responsibilities and things like that.
Okay.
Dr. Alma brought up an interesting point though. He said, and I kind of disagree, but that's his truth. If the doctor hasn't done research before, they're 80% of the time not going to be a good PI.
Not,
Mm.
not, I didn't say not good PI. They will
Oh,
not be able to help you in recruiting or being a sub I.
got you, got you.
Yeah, it's not being a good PI. I think PI is like a curve that you're gonna learn how to do it, and then you'll be do it. I started
I
like
see.
a regular oncologist, and then I start doing the trials and learn from my mistakes and everything because until now I still have some kind of holes and I need to fix it and work on it and everything. But overall, like this, but if you're gonna bring a new physician that he doesn't have experience in research at all, he will be very hesitant to participate in your trial. That's
Okay.
what my meaning about the new.
I have a different take personally on the matter. I like to quotes shape the PI from inexperiences because I think it's harder to make people unlearn than make people learn new ways and new things, new way to work. Um, and I think it's then if he's not really used to do research, will defer even more to the CRC. And I think the key is to really have, in this instance, to have a very experienced CRC, and then to learn from the CRC. So I don't know, just my take on the
Yeah,
thing.
I think there's many ways to skin a cat, but
Mhm.
there's a lot of truth to what Dr. Al said as far as if they're not used to doing research, it's going to be hard to get them to contribute towards referrals. I have found that as well. However, yeah, so I guess there's a difference between being a good PI versus contributing, because I do agree with that more with that statement. Uh, sometimes you're on your own as a site owner. Even let's say you find a good PI, like we have at my site, we have five right now, PIs, different specialists. Most of them will say that they're gonna help refer, even when they're the PI, okay? And they directly have incentives to recruit because they're the part owner of the site, right? Whatever studies they're
Mm.
doing. They get so busy because they're all private practice operators that they don't refer. Like it's rare that they do. So you have to figure out ways to get patient. This is when we have Patient Ace, which is a recruitment company we founded. They sometimes give you access to their records, which you can then go in, but then it's your staff doing it, right? And then you find somebody that maybe qualifies, then you have to go tell your coordinator, go talk to that PI or their NP or their mid-level provider. Next time this patient comes here, they need to tell them. Unless they give us permission to call them, then we call them. So I tend to agree more with Dr. Al now on his statement. But even then, it's still worth, as a site owner, working with them. And hopefully over time they start contributing more. I found that the longer you work with a PI, the more they're gonna eventually start referring. But on those first couple of studies, it's like you're on your own.
Totally.
But if you last longer and they start seeing the checks, like, hey, actually not bad. Okay, ne for the next one, I'm gonna try to be more active in referring. I found that the longer you stick around with them, the more likely they end up referring.
Well, they feel more incentivized to.
Yeah, and some of them are interested. Like they meet the monitor, and the monitor is like, "Hey, we would like you to enroll more." And then he take it as a personal challenge. Like, okay,
Or,
now I'm gonna because the monitor. But when Dan tells me it doesn't matter. But when the monitor tells me, okay, now it matters. So I've experienced some of that too.
Mhm.
Any other advice, Dr. Al, or questions for Stephen?
No, but I'm waiting for Steven. Like, would he like to ask us about his the new?
Um, well, I would say my biggest concern would be about hidden fees for a site's perspective, and also how to manage efficiently the budget of a site because of the delays of payments from the sponsors and all that stuff. This is my biggest concern. Um, and how to tackle uh, the issue because sometimes it relies on the data that the sponsors hasn't reviewed, or I mean all of that is negotiable in the budget and the contract, but what's your take on that then?
Don't try to get trials from small companies.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, because this is where you get burned the most. Okay, they don't have a lot of budget. They get bankrupt soon after, especially if the medication and they have delay in payment for you a lot. Okay, because I don't know. So try to get like a reasonable company that really they're more dependable. Or if you have a big vaccine, most of the vaccine now with big company. I don't think there's like small vaccine. So I don't think it'll be an issue.
There's a few, but yeah, most of them are big now.
But I think for advice, don't try to get trials from small company you start working on it and initiate and spend time in bringing the study and starting it and everything, and then
Yes, I
Um,
agree. I had I have a rule that I break sometimes, but it's don't work with a drug company that's not publicly traded. And so I've broken this rule in Yuma here. We've only been doing this 3 years in Yuma. I've broken it twice. One was because a good friend of mine was the study director at that company, and he basically guaranteed, like he gave me his word that they won't, that all my concerns, I gave him my concerns. He gave me his word, and it turned out to be true. And then the other one was just a interesting that we're still doing, and it's one of our highest paying studies. And then they became public about a year into working with them. So it is a gamble, though. I agree with Dr. Al, because when you start working with these small companies, especially when they're like foreign companies, like not US. I mean, start talking about India. China's not going to be the case anymore because of that the Biosecure Act.
yes.
Um, we don't have very good relation now with China, but but I mean India is another, like, just be careful. And that's my rule is like if they're not publicly traded, don't do it. And if even if they are and you never heard of them, like really look closely at their balance sheet and that
Mm.
kind of stuff. But I mean, it's ultimately it's a risk, right? And I have found that sometimes the small ones do pay you faster.
Yes.
It's more than risk because if you're gonna bring patient and invest and pay for the patient and they're gonna take about 2 to 3 months for you and you
Yeah.
paying for coordinator to run the trial and everything.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you're investing.
Like when I work with, so here's what I would do, Stephen, because you're gonna gamble no matter what. If a small company gives you a study and it's your first one, you're gonna want to say yes. Look at, are they publicly traded? Okay, if not, it's a bigger risk. If they are, that's fine. Don't enroll anyone until you get your startup fee.
Yeah, for sure.
Because that's my rule. Like if it's with Eli Lilly or Pfizer or AstraZeneca, right now I have a study with they haven't paid the startup fee, but we're going to enroll because these are big pharma. They're not going
Mm.
to not pay
Exactly.
you. But if it's a small I never heard of, I'm not enrolling anyone until I get startup fee.
Yeah.
Then once I get startup fee, I'll do one or two screenings and see if they pay, and then I'll put more. So you can go slowly as well.
But aren't the big pharma usually more fearful of new established sites? So,
It
Yep.
depends. It depends on if they need patient or not. Sometimes they'll come to you even if they're looking for bigger site. No, it's not a rule bigger sites. Trust me. If they want site, they will come to you. Okay,
Agreed.
like about
Especially if private practice
yeah,
and
about 50-60% of my study is big pharma in different specialty.
and how long have you been around for?
With this site, 5 years.
Yeah, but yeah. I mean, that's different 5 years in, in a few months. But
yeah,
yeah,
but you have a contact, so it sounds like
I do. Yeah, yeah.
you have some context. Hey, what you might do is get like a harder to enroll studies
Mhm.
initially. We were my pulmonologist, his first study was like a IPF, which was like a rare disease. But then after that, we started getting COPD, asthma, which by the way are not easy studies, but
I'm sorry, Dan, but Stephen, I don't know. You've been in the big pharma market and like this. Do you have a pool for all these sites, like to see which sites enroll more
No,
in
because
different?
I was more on the marketing of the drugs and the sales more than the more on the back hands than the forefront of it.
Because you know, if I get a study for a certain diagnosis and like this, after a while, I see a lot of people, companies reaching out directly to my email, sending me studies if I would like to initiate this or not.
Mm.
So I
Mm.
think there is like some kind of a pool for all these trials, and the drug company they look into these sites and see where you they have evaluation for the site, they have everything for the site, and
Well, I
it
do know
fits.
that CROs and big pharma keep tracks records of sites that they've been partnering with in the past. So that's
it becomes a
and
lot easier to get your future studies. They also
100%.
share with like SIP shared. I remember when we got our first study with Eli Lilly here. It was like our first big sponsor, right, in Yuma. They made us have a SIP profile, right? Shared
Mhm.
Investigator Portal. As soon as we put our info there, another big pharma found us.
Yes.
And I know it's like correlation, but I'm pretty sure it had to do with being in SIP. And so there is shared databases and things like that.
Okay. I think there's shared databases
Yeah, yeah.
and
But
evaluation for the sites and everything.
correct. And those big pharma have to pay to be in that system, but they share efficiency, streamlined processes.
Exactly. And
Yeah,
screening, enrollment, and everything. They come to you and they know everything about you before you tell them.
they
Yeah,
do. Do
I
you
know
guys
that.
contact with your MSLs, medical science liaison? That's a good way to get studies too.
No, honestly, no.
But you get sales rep all the time, right?
Oh, I get the silver rep all the time. I meet with MSL all the time, but you know, they're different department from research department, completely different department. And I don't think they have any influence. They may recommend your name. So, but
Yeah.
good luck.
They have some influence. Yeah. I've gotten some studies through MSLs, but it does take time. It's not like right away. It
No,
takes like a
I need my
year.
all the MSL and the drug rep here and everything, but good luck if they tell you that we can get you trial, but we can recommend your name. We have this pipeline open. We recommend your name, but
Okay.
they tell you that we're gonna put you in this trial or this trial. No, they cannot.
But at least they bring sandwiches.
They're not allowed to doctors' offices anymore.
What? That's
They're not allowed
nonsense.
to doctors' offices.
We
Seriously.
have like every day at the one of the sites
I know,
food.
but you're not doctor's office, you're research
No,
site.
no, but
They
it's
can.
with the private practice. They don't bring us the food. They bring
I
the
know, but
private.
that's most probably under your research site. For the
Ah,
doctors, they cannot. Mhm.
Stephen comes from this world.
Yeah, we did.
I think the sales reps are like underutilized. They don't know anything themselves, but the MSL, the access to the MSL.
They have good plugs. I agree.
Yeah, I gotta connect you, Dr. Al, with one that in the cardio space.
Okay.
Um, I'll text you after this so I don't forget. I'll send a group text.
But to come back to the portals, I think it can be very interesting. I know that Igvia and Advara and Eligo, they all have portals where you can register your PI and you have then like inbound
Yep.
study. So
Same with like in NATO and
yeah,
Dr. Al and I were talking about in NATO before. Some sites hate Inato, others love it. If it
No,
like,
I've been doing very good with Inaro.
me too. Me
And
yeah,
you
too.
know what? And I think like there is a new company to reach out for me, and I met with them a couple of times. Trial, trial, trial tree.
I haven't heard of them.
Yeah, it's new. They are off San Francisco, and they reach out for me, and they have a lot of sites in LA now.
Okay. I know we're working on one called Biogenesis that I'm working with the founders and they're gonna be a like a portal for sites for biotechs.
Uh-huh.
mhm.
Um, so we'll announce it soon. But yeah, I mean there's ways. Stephen, like my thoughts are you gonna commit to a lease or like a long-term lease
I
or
I already
anything?
did. I already did. I'm doing my TIs right now.
Okay.
So I expect 2 months of work, maybe a little bit more. I'm already gonna, apply for studies, be proactive, because
Are any
that
of the doctors part owners you said with you?
no, I'm paying on commission base per
Okay. So the
sense.
lease is on your name
So
basically.
this is on my name.
And Linwood's, I mean, nowhere in SoCal is it cheap. So,
Well, it's not far from Southgate and Compton, so the area is not, let's say, the most expensive. So I got a pretty good deal on the lease.
okay, okay,
and
that's good.
and and it's right on the medical campus, inside of the medical building. So it's a great location, pharmacy in the building, and there's a ton of MED
Wow.
in the building as well. And we right
Okay.
across of the hospital.
Do you have a website yet?
I'm finishing it, so I'm not going to share it
Okay.
well, I'm not publicly, but I'll send it to you personally. I
And
want
if
to.
anyone's watching or listening, because we do have study people watching, Steven's LinkedIn's underneath. And I will connect you, Steven, with a few people too from
Yeah, and I would
from
love
pharma.
to connect with you privately to look at vendors mostly.
Yeah,
And because, well, I work with Clear real time, so some of them I know that we'll contract with, but in Edo, I've never
I
done.
like Korea. And Nato's free. I think it's worth being on.
Mhm.
I'm a fan. I know other people. It's a hate-love relationship people have with them. Me and Dr. Al love them, but
I work with them very well, and
others
they're
hate them. And I think the reason they hate them is because it's not easy to get your first study, but once you get your first, it's like it becomes easier to get the next ones.
and they
Um,
follow up on your patient.
they
They
do.
follow up with the company, and they follow up with they tell you like how come you did not enroll till now, and how come I
Yeah,
yeah, they do
yeah.
that. They're very
I love
involved
them.
with you and with the company.
Yeah,
Well, shout
and
out to Nata for sponsoring the pod. What do
it's
you
a
use
French
Creo or
company.
anything?
It's a French company. I'm French, so I guess I'll have to promote
Oh,
my
you need
French
to
here.
go. I'll introduce you to Liz Beatty. She's the CEO and the
Okay.
co-founder. Um, do you use Dr. Al any e-source or is it all paper?
No, no, I have what the name of that eClean Pro
Mhm.
Ah, okay. How do you like it?
PPMS. Oh, I love it. I love it. They're
Okay.
very good, and
Affordable
they're
or
very helpful. You know, Fernando and
is it
his
pricey
partner.
or is it like re reasonable?
No, no, they're very reasonable. It's much cheaper than other company that I went
I
through.
use Creo. I use
No, I use eClean Pro, and they are very good. And
Okay.
they have a very big, a very good for billing, for
Mhm.
e-source, for
Yeah,
ICF,
they were a
everything.
SOS sponsor, so
Yeah,
shout out to them.
they have great resources as well. I like the resources.
Which one?
Eclean Pro,
Yeah,
If it wasn't for Creo, I'd probably use them,
hmm
to be honest. But I'm loyal to Creo. I think Creo's the industry leader because they have so many things, but
but they're expensive, man. Most
they're
they're
becoming
giving you a good deal. That's why you.
not anymore. No, I don't have a good. I have everyone's same deal now as everyone.
But
But
what I like with Creo is they're gonna scale up very, very well.
yes, and Creo's always trying to be competitive. They're trying to do things where they're gonna start getting you studies too. So, I mean, there's. I think both are great. You
hmm
know, I've never used real time, but I know Judy does, who will teach in week 2, I believe. So
hmm
you can ask her about real time. She loves it. Everyone, I feel like they when they find what you like, you're gonna use it because the switching cost is too difficult, man. Like once you pick something and your business is established, you're just gonna stick with it unless they just become terrible, which is not the case with any of these companies.
No, I think both of them like because Eclipse Pro is new and they're still
Yeah.
developing it and doing a lot of, but they're great.
Yeah,
They're very good and very
sure good.
responsive. You need any improvement, you need anything else, they come over and I have like a WhatsApp group, a chat with them, and if anything we want, we text them and they get on it directly and they help us.
Man, can you
hmm
tell them to if they want to sponsor SOS again next year? I think we're working on it with Judy, but just give them an extra word if you can.
Okay, I'll talk to them about that.
They came last year and we're really
They're
happy.
hearing you on your podcast.
That's right. Ecolin Pro, shout out to you guys. If it wasn't for Korea, I would use you guys. Steven, I think you'll do well, man. I think there are things you need to be careful on. There are no, one of your questions was if you're missing anything from the budgets, like hidden costs. There's not, but you really want to ask Chris about that when next week, I believe. Because there's a lot of things you can get in your budget that you have to ask for. The payments are usually fair, beyond fair if you negotiate well.
Yeah.
Steve,
Yes.
Dan and Chris, they are the one who gave me all the tablets for the billing when I first started. I didn't have it. I'm not joking. Dan and Chris. Chris is very good and he can help you anytime. If you forward for him any budget you want to discuss it with him, he can help you. And he did that with me in the beginning for a couple of budgets. Till now, when I ask him, he will help me. Till
Wow.
now, even I'm not like part of their program. I'm only like work with them. But till
Yeah.
now, Chris is very helpful.
The best only.
Yeah, it's all the Save Our Sites co-founders. You know, we kind of work together, help each other. We're all site owners, except Ashley
Are you
Marco.
still doing the DC
DS, yeah, of course. Yeah.
webcast? Webcast?
Yeah, yeah. Yeah. We have like 85 sites. Oh, the Circle podcast? No, we stopped that one. The Biotechs?
Uh-huh.
The last one we did was like 3 years ago with you.
I don't know, no, but you had another podcast, the one that when I came in with you, you were doing it.
No, the only consistent one I have is just the one I have. We
This
have a
one?
Latinos in clinical research every month.
Oh, well,
Latinos in research.
you reach out for Colombia and Mexico.
That's right, man. And actually, there's a lot of now sites owners in Mexico, Dominican Republic.
See?
Latin America is getting big.
I was
Mhm.
I was on this webcast with you a couple of times, and I don't speak Spanish, so it was very difficult for me to go
Sí,
through
sí,
that. You have
poquito.
Monica, you have all these Spanish ladies. They're very fluent. Even you speak Spanish.
Más o menos, sí.
Más o menos.
Yeah, I remember one of your YouTube video of this site tuners who was traveling all around South America.
There's a lot of business to be done, and there's a lot of outsourcing being done in Latin America, and the next logical step is having a site infrastructure there.
And have you ever considered something overseas, as India or?
Not that far, but if I were, it would be Latin America and it would be Mexico.
Okay.
But the FDA version of Mexico, Cafe Pris, is very slow. They need Robert Kennedy over there. They're the ones that need him more, because it's very inefficient over there and it takes forever to get a study going.
Oh, well, okay.
Steven, we thank you, man. Listen, next week, and just shoot me an email and we'll do a private call one
Okay.
of these days when you want. But next week, jump on the Zoom with Chris. I'll try
Yes.
to be on there as well,
Okay.
and we'll talk more, man. And I'll also send both you and Dr. Al separately some study contacts I have.
Awesome. Okay, looking forward to it.
Thank you,
Nice
Dr.
meeting
Al.
you, Stephen. Thank you very much,
All right,
Dan.
guys. Have
Take it
a
easy,
good one.
guys.
Really appreciate this call.
Thank you,
Okay.
guys. See you
Okay.
next week, Steven.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.